Pack your things.
Didn't even let him explain. Pack your things, he said, already walking away. Kael blinked slow, like his brain needed a second to catch up with what his ears just heard. The office was too quiet, too clean, too normal, like nothing had just gone completely sideways. His hands were still on the keyboard, fingers stiff, eyes dry, no tears, not yet, just numb. A notification blinked on his screen. Another one, then another. He didn't even look at them, not after that, not after him. Before we get into this, Kael would have told people this story differently if he had the chance. He would have slowed it down, made them sit in it. So, if you're watching this right now, drop where you're tuned in from. He always loved knowing how far stories travel. And tell me this. After everything that went down, what would you have done in his place? Because most people think they know until they're in it. His name was Kael Morrison, senior cybersecurity analyst at one of the fastest-growing fintech companies in Atlanta, Apex Flow. That's a company handling digital payments, meaning they move money through software, not physical banks. The kind of place that bragged about innovation while quietly burning people out behind glass walls and polished floors. He wasn't loud, didn't chase attention, didn't need validation. He just worked. And he was good at it. Too good. Honestly, that's what made people uncomfortable, especially Julian. Julian Croft, CEO, founder, the face of the company. Sharp suits, a controlled smile, the kind of man who measured respect in silence, not words. He didn't trust easily and he didn't like surprises. That morning he got one. He stepped out of the elevator already irritated, late meeting, investors flying in, numbers not where he wanted them, everything had to be perfect. Then he saw him, head down at his desk, asleep. Not slumped, not dozing, out cold. Right there in the middle of the open floor. He stopped walking, just stared. The office assistant noticed too, then someone else. It spread fast, like quiet gossip always does. Julian didn't say anything at first. He just walked closer, slow, measured, like he was confirming what he already believed. Unbelievable, he muttered. Kael didn't move, didn't flinch, didn't hear him. That made it worse. He looked around. People were pretending not to watch. That irritated him even more. He cleared his throat loud. Still nothing. So he did what men like him do when they feel disrespected. He made it public. "Is this what we're doing now?" he said, his voice sharp enough to cut through the entire floor. A few heads snapped up. Kael stirred barely. His eyes opened halfway, slow, heavy, like dragging himself out of something deeper than sleep. He looked at Julian, didn't speak, didn't apologize, just looked. Wrong move. Julian folded his arms. "You getting paid to nap now?" Still nothing. His lips parted slightly like he was about to say something, then stopped. That pause, that silence. Julian read it as guilt, as laziness, as disrespect. He shook his head. "HR now." That's all he said. No questions, no curiosity, no attempt to understand. Just judgment and a decision already made. Kael blinked again, fully awake now, but not panicked, not defensive, just tired, deep tired. The kind that sleep doesn't fix. He pushed his chair back slowly, stood up, every movement deliberate, controlled, like he was holding something in or holding himself together. People watched. Nobody spoke. He walked past Julian, didn't look at him, didn't argue, didn't plead. That annoyed Julian more than anything. He followed. HR was already waiting, of course they were. This company moved fast when it came to discipline, not so much when it came to support. "Take a seat, Kael," the HR manager Renata said, her voice soft in that fake corporate way. Kael sat, hands in his lap, eyes steady. Julian stayed standing. "I won't waste time," he said. "We have standards here. This isn't a lounge. If you can't stay awake during working hours, you don't belong here." Still no response. Renata glanced at Kael. "Would you like to explain what happened?" There it was, the moment, the opening, the chance to say everything he could have, he should have, but he didn't. He just looked at them both, then said quietly, "I understand." Julian let out a short laugh. "Oh, you understand, good, that makes this easier." He turned to Renata. "Terminate, effective immediately." Just like that. No hesitation, no second thought. Renata nodded, already typing. Paperwork, signatures, formalities, all cold, all routine. Kael reached for the pen. His hand didn't shake. That's what stuck with Renata later, not the situation, not the firing, but how calm he was. Like he'd already accepted something bigger than this. He signed, stood up. "Can I collect my things?" he asked. Julian shrugged. "Make it quick." Kael nodded once, then walked out back to his desk, the same desk where it all went wrong, or at least where it looked like it did. He sat down again. The screen was still lit, still blinking. Notifications, alerts, warnings, dozens of them, hundreds actually. Nobody else seemed to notice or care. They were too busy pretending everything was normal. He exhaled slowly, then started typing fast, focused, like he was still on the clock, because in his mind he was, even if they weren't. A junior analyst named Corey walked by, paused. "Hey, you okay?" Kael didn't look up. "Yeah, you sure?" "I said I'm okay." Not rude. "Just final." Corey nodded awkwardly and walked off. Kael kept going. Lines of code, security logs, firewall breaches, it was all there. Everything he had been dealing with for the past 48 hours. No sleep, no breaks, no backup, just him, because he caught something. Something small at first, a glitch, a pattern that didn't feel right. Most people would have ignored it, logged it, moved on. But he didn't. He dug deeper. And what he found wasn't small. It was a coordinated attack, sophisticated, persistent. Targeting their payment infrastructure, the digital plumbing that moves money from one account to another. If it went through, it wouldn't just hurt the company, it would destroy it. Customer data, financial records, millions at risk. And the worst part, nobody else saw it, or believed him when he flagged it, except one system. One silent confirmation. The alerts on his screen right now, still flashing, still active, still dangerous. He stopped typing just for a second, closed his eyes. Not to sleep, just to breathe. Then he opened them again and kept going, because getting fired didn't stop what was coming, and he knew that even if they didn't. He should have walked out, that's what anyone else would have done. Laptop closed, badge dropped, pride swallowed. Done, but Kael didn't move like anyone else. He was still sitting there, same desk, same screen, same storm building behind code nobody else could read. The system pinged again, sharp this time. Different, his eyes narrowed. "They're testing the wall," he muttered under his breath. A new pattern, more aggressive, less subtle. They weren't probing anymore. They were pushing hard. Across the floor, people were laughing. Someone just closed a deal. A few desks down, someone was arguing over lunch orders. Normal office noise. Meanwhile, their entire backend, the server-side nervous system of the company, was seconds away from bleeding out, and nobody knew except the man they just fired. Kael's fingers moved faster. He rerouted traffic, isolated entry points, locked down segments, temporary fixes. Not enough, not even close. He needed clearance. Admin level, the highest permission in the system, the kind they just stripped from him 10 minutes ago. He clicked a command anyway. Access denied. He exhaled. Of course. For a split second, he considered walking into Julian's office, explaining everything. But then he pictured his face. The way he looked at him. Not curious, not concerned, just done with him. Yeah, that wasn't going to work. So he did something else, something risky, something that could get him into real trouble if anyone noticed. He opened a back door. Not illegal, not exactly, more like forgotten. A legacy admin pathway, a hidden entrance left over from an old software update no one bothered shutting down after the last system upgrade. He helped design it, which meant he knew exactly how to use it. His fingers hovered over the keyboard for half a second. Then he went in. Access granted. "Let's go," he whispered. Now he was inside the core, deeper than before, deeper than he was supposed to be, and that's when he saw it, not just one breach, multiple, layered, coordinated. They weren't just trying to get in. They were already in, quietly sitting there, waiting, mapping, learning, his stomach tight. This is bad, no, not bad, calculated. These weren't random hackers. This was a team, professionals, the kind that didn't rush, the kind that waited for the perfect moment. And he knew exactly what that moment was going to be. The investor presentation, live transactions, peak system load, maximum damage, maximum exposure. He checked the clock. 2 hours, that's all they had. Across the building, Julian was packing his office, phone pressed to his ear. "Yes, I understand expectations," he said, voice tight. "We're on track." He wasn't, but he believed he was. That's what confidence does. It blinds you just enough to miss the thing that matters. He hung up, looked at his reflection in the glass, adjusted his cufflinks. Everything looked right. Everything felt under control, just how he liked it. A knock at the door. "Come in." It was Alina, head of operations. Sharp, observant, the kind of person who noticed details others ignored. "Quick question," she said. "Did something happen on the floor earlier?" Julian didn't look up from his tablet. "Handled, that analyst Morrison, unprofessional. Kael, he's one of your best." "Was asterisk," he corrected. Alina hesitated. "Julian, he flagged a security concern last week. Something about unusual traffic, an odd pattern of data moving through the network." He finally looked up, annoyed. "We get alerts every week." This one felt different. Clearly not different enough. Alina studied him. He was already done with the conversation. That told her everything. She nodded slowly. "All right." But she didn't look convinced, not even close. Back at his desk, Kael's screen exploded with activity. They were moving faster now. He saw the shift instantly. "They know," he whispered. Not that he was there, but that something changed. Their attack pattern adjusted, more aggressive, less cautious, like they were racing something or someone, him. He leaned forward, heart steady, mind sharp. No panic, just focus. And then he noticed something that turned his blood cold. The attack had a signature. A digital fingerprint buried deep in the code. A sequence he recognized. It wasn't just a random criminal syndicate. It was a specific tool, a custom exploit kit built by a hacker group that had been dormant for 2 years. But what froze him was the access point they used. It wasn't a cracked password or a phishing email. It was an internal API key, a digital keycard that only someone inside the company could have generated. Someone inside Apex Flow had opened the door for them. There was a mole. "You want speed," he said under his breath. "Let's move."
You want speed. Let's move.
He deployed a trap, a false vulnerability, something tempting, something loud, a digital bait known as a honeypot, and they took it immediately. "Got you." He tracked the entry, followed the signal. Location masked, of course, but not perfectly. Nobody's perfect, not even them. He started peeling layers one by one. Firewall logs, IP hops, encrypted tunnels. It was messy work, but he was better. Across the room, 2 engineers were arguing. "Systems lagging," one said. "Probably a traffic spike." "No, this feels weird, man." "It's fine." It wasn't fine, not even a little. Kael's fingers paused just for a second. His vision blurred, not from emotion, from exhaustion. 48 hours. No real sleep, just adrenaline and stubbornness. His body was starting to push back hard. He closed his eyes, counted to 3, opened them again. Still sharp. Still here, still fighting. "You can crash later," he told himself. "Not now," he kept going. Inside Julian's office, he smiled. For the first time that day, the investors had arrived. Everything was lining up. This was his moment. The room was clean, presentation ready, numbers polished, confidence high. He shook hands, firm grip, controlled energy. "Glad you could make it," they sat.
Glad you could make it.
Screens lit up. The future of the company about to be showcased. Back on the floor, Alina stood up. Something felt off. She couldn't explain it, didn't have proof, just instinct. She walked over to Kael's desk, stopped, watched. Kael didn't notice her at first, too deep in it, too locked in. Alina's eyes moved to the screen, then widened. What the hell? Lines of code flying, security panels open, alerts stacking. This wasn't someone packing up after being fired. This was someone in the middle of a war. "Kael," she said, no response. "Kael," still nothing. She stepped closer. "Talk to me." Kael finally looked up, slow, tired, but clear. "They're inside," he said. Alina frowned. "Who? Hackers?" Alina blinked. "What? Not small, not random, coordinated. They're waiting for the presentation to hit peak traffic." Alina's chest tightened. "You're serious?" Kael didn't answer.
They're inside.
Who?
Not small, not random, coordinated. They're waiting for the presentation to hit peak traffic.
You're serious?
Just turned the screen slightly, showed her. That was enough. Alina stepped back. "Why didn't you report this?" Kael just stared at her, didn't say it, didn't need to. Alina got it. They didn't listen. Kael looked back at the screen. "I don't have full access anymore. I'm working around it, but it's not enough." Alina made a decision fast. "Stay here." She turned and walked, no hesitation. Straight to Julian's office. She didn't knock, just opened the door. Mid-presentation, heads turned, Julian froze, annoyed. "What are you doing?" Alina didn't care. "We have a problem, not now." "Yes, now," his jaw tight. "This better be important." She stepped closer, lowered her voice. "It's Kael." That name again. Julian exhaled sharply. "What about him? He's still working." "That's not possible." "It is. And he says we're under attack and that it came from inside." Silence for half a second. Then Julian laughed, actually laughed. "Incredible." Alina didn't move. "He showed me the system. He traced a breach to an internal access point. Someone here facilitated it. That's exactly why he was fired, overreacting, creating problems where there aren't any. This doesn't look fake." "It is." "How do you know?" "Because if something that serious was happening, I would know." There it was, that confidence again, that blind spot. Alina studied him. "You really believe that?" "I built this company," he said. "I know when something's wrong." Behind him, the presentation screen flickered just for a second. Nobody else noticed except Alina, and she saw it, that tiny glitch, that one moment, something breaking. She pointed. Julian turned. Too late. The screen went black. Then an error message, system failure. The room went silent. No one spoke. No one moved, just stared. Julian's face changed. Not panic, not yet, but something close. "What is this?" one investor asked. Julian grabbed the remote, clicked. Nothing again, nothing. His voice tightened. "Give me a second." He turned to Alina, slow, controlled, but different now. "Fix it." Alina didn't move. "I told you." That's when it hit him, not fully, not completely, but enough. He looked back at the dead screen, then toward the floor outside, toward Kael's desk. And for the first time since this started, he wasn't sure. Now it was quiet in a different way. Not the fake office quiet, not the everyone mind your business kind. This one had weight. The kind that presses on your chest and makes your thoughts louder than they should be. Julian felt it first, that shift. That moment when confidence starts cracking but your ego hasn't caught up yet. He looked at the screen again, still dead, still blank, still wrong. "Get it in here now," he snapped. "They're already trying," Alina said. "Trying." His voice sharpened. "Trying what?" "They don't have access." That landed hard. "What do you mean they don't have access?" Alina didn't sugarcoat it. "I mean whatever's happening, it's deeper than them."
What do you mean they don't have access?
I mean, whatever's happening, it's deeper than them.
Across the table, one of the investors leaned back slowly. "Are we compromised?" Nobody answered right away. And that silence, that was the answer. Julian turned toward the door fast. "Where is he?" Alina didn't hesitate this time, still at his desk. He didn't say another word, just walked. No, he almost ran, straight out of the room, past the glass walls, past employees now standing, whispering, confused. The whole floor felt different, like something invisible had just walked in and taken control. He saw him, still there, same seat, same screen, same focus, like nothing else existed, like he never stopped working. For a second, Julian just stood there watching, trying to reconcile what he thought he knew with what he was seeing. "Kael." He didn't turn. "I need admin access restored," he said, calm. No greeting, no emotion. No "you fired me," just straight to it. Julian blinked. "You're still logged in." "Through a back door you forgot existed," Kael replied. That stung. Not because of what he said, but because of how easily he said it, like it was obvious, like Julian should have known. He stepped closer. "What's happening now?" Kael turned finally, looked him straight in the eye. "They're inside your system, not trying to get in, already in. They've been mapping your infrastructure for hours, maybe longer, and they got in using a key that was created internally." Julian's jaw tightened. "How bad?" Kael held his gaze. "If they trigger during peak load, your transactions crash, customer data leaks, and your company bleeds money in real time. You won't recover from it. And the person who helped them is still inside your walls. No drama, no exaggeration, just facts." Behind him, more people had gathered. Alina, a few engineers, even some staff who had no business being there. Everyone listening, everyone waiting. Julian swallowed hard. "What do you need?" Kael didn't hesitate. "Full access, right now, no restrictions, and I need you to lock down every employee portal, begin a forensic audit of access logs for the past month."
Full access. Right now. No restrictions. And I need you to lock down every employee portal, begin a forensic audit of access logs for the past month. Or you can let me stop this.
Julian paused, just a second, but Kael caught it. That hesitation, that ego. That last bit of control he didn't want to let go of. Kael's eyes narrowed slightly. You can keep thinking you're in charge, he said quietly, or you can let me stop this. That did it. Do it, Julian said, turning to Alina. Restore everything, initiate the lockdown. Alina moved immediately, typing commands overrides. Within seconds, access granted. Kael didn't say thank you, didn't look relieved. He just turned back to the screen and went to war. His fingers flew faster than before. Now he wasn't working around the system. He was inside it fully. He isolated the infected nodes, computers acting as puppets for the attack, cut off pathways, rebuilt firewalls in real time. The screen lit up with motion, code flowing like water. Julian stood behind him, watching, not speaking, not interrupting. For the first time since this started, he was learning, or trying to. What are they doing? He asked. Waiting, Kael said. For what? Kael didn't look up. For the exact moment your system hits maximum pressure, which is, he checked the clock, now, right on cue. The system spiked, traffic surged, investors still logged in, transactions climbing, everything peaking. And then the attack hit hard, every screen in the building flickered, alerts screamed. Systems lagged, then stuttered, employees gasped. One engineer cursed under his breath. This is bad. I know, Kael cut in, but he didn't panic, didn't freeze. Didn't even slow down. He leaned forward, eyes sharp, locked in. Come on, he whispered. The hackers pushed deeper, trying to break through his defenses, trying to override his controls. They were good, very good, but Kael was better. He redirected the attack, forced it into controlled zones, contained the damage, minimal spread, maximum control. As he fought them, he pulled up the access logs in a secondary window. He needed proof of the mole. His eyes scanned the data streams, looking for the unique ID of the leaked key. Bingo! The key had been activated from a specific terminal. He isolated its usage and cross-referenced it with the building's entry logs. A name attached to the badge swipe matched. He saved the evidence, his expression hardening. Julian watched the numbers, watched the chaos, watched asterisk him. And something in him shifted. Not admiration, not yet. Something more uncomfortable than that, respect. The kind you don't want to give but can't deny. You've done this before, Julian said. Kael didn't answer, didn't have time. The system glitched again, then steadied. Then one final surge, the hackers made their last move, all in, everything they had. Kael saw it coming, smiled slightly. Got you. He triggered the trap, the honeypot he set earlier, the one the hackers thought they were exploiting but weren't. It flipped, locked them in, cut them off, traced them back, hard, fast, precise. Then silence. No alerts, no errors, no noise, just a steady system. Running, clean, stable, alive. The room didn't react immediately. It took a second for everyone to realize it was over. Alina exhaled first. Oh my God. One of the engineers sat down hard. Julian didn't move, didn't speak. He just stared at the screen, then at Kael, then back at the screen again, processing, replaying everything, what he said, what he assumed, what he did, and what Kael just prevented. Kael leaned back in his chair. Finally, for the first time, he looked tired, not weak, not broken, just human. He closed his eyes just for a second, then opened them again. Julian stepped forward. You stopped it, Kael nodded once. They're out, the data is secure, the system is stable, and I know who opened the door.
You stopped it. They're out. The data is secure. The system is stable. And I know who opened the door.
Julian let out a breath he didn't realize he was holding. Then good. That was it. Just asterisk, good asterisk. Kael looked at him, really looked this time, and something in his expression changed. Not anger, not even disappointment, something quieter, something colder. He stood up, slow, controlled. Then I'm done here.
Then I'm done here.
Julian frowned. What do you mean? I mean you fired me. That hit differently now, in front of everyone, in front of the same people who just watched him save everything. Julian glanced around, felt it, the shift, the judgment, the unspoken thoughts. He cleared his throat. That was before. No, Kael said, that was when it mattered. Silence again, heavy, uncomfortable. You didn't ask, you didn't check, you saw what you wanted to see.
You didn't ask. You didn't check. You saw what you wanted to see.
Julian opened his mouth, closed it, because Kael wasn't wrong. I was working for 48 hours straight trying to stop exactly what just happened. Nobody moved. Nobody spoke. You saw me for 5 seconds, he added, and decided everything.
I was working for 48 hours straight trying to stop exactly what just happened. You saw me for 5 seconds and decided everything.
That landed deep. Julian ran a hand through his hair. You should have said something. Kael almost smiled. Not in a happy way, in a tired way. I tried. That was the part Julian couldn't argue, because Alina had said the same thing, because the alerts were there, because the signs existed. He just didn't listen. Kael reached into his pocket and pulled out a USB drive. He placed it on the desk. When you're ready to face the truth, the name of the person who betrayed your company and the evidence linking them is on here. They're still in the building.
When you're ready to face the truth, the name of the person who betrayed your company and the evidence linking them is on here. They're still in the building.
He looked at Julian, really looked, and he saw it. The exhaustion, the focus, the strength it took to sit there after being dismissed and still do the job for a company that just threw him away. You're not fired, Julian said quickly. Stay. There it was, the offer, the reversal, the attempt to fix it, but it came late, too late. Kael shook his head. No, simple, final. You don't get to undo that because it worked out. Julian stepped closer. You're valuable here. Another small smile, this one sharper. I know. That wasn't arrogance. That was truth. I don't need you to tell me that after the fact. Julian hesitated. Then what will it take? Straight to negotiation. Because that's what he knew. Money, position, power, that usually worked. Kael picked up his bag, slow, unbothered. It's not about that. Then what is it about? Kael looked at him, calm, steady. Trust. That word sat there heavy, because you can't negotiate it, you can't buy it, and once it's gone, it doesn't come back the same. Julian didn't have a response, not a real one, so he stood there watching as Kael walked away. Not rushed, not emotional, just done. Alina stepped aside to let him pass. Their eyes met. Alina nodded once. Respect. Real respect. Kael nodded back, then kept walking. Out of the office. Out of the building. Into air that didn't feel so heavy behind him. The company was still standing because of him, in spite of Julian. Julian turned back to the floor. People were watching him now. Different than before. Not impressed. Not intimidated. Just aware that he got it wrong. Badly. He looked at Kael's empty desk, then at the system he just saved, then at the USB drive holding the name of the traitor, then at his reflection in the glass. And for the first time in a long time, he didn't look certain. Moral: people don't break companies. Assumptions do. The most dangerous mistake isn't hearing the wrong person, it's misjudging the right one. Kael didn't lose his job because he lacked skill. He lost it because someone in power made a decision without understanding the full picture. That's how damage really happens, not from ignorance, but from confidence without curiosity. In fast-moving environments, especially in industries like cybersecurity, finance, or tech infrastructure, the smallest signal can mean everything. The person who notices that signal might not look polished in the moment. They might be exhausted, quiet, unnoticed, but that doesn't make them wrong. Julian believed control meant having all the answers, but real leadership isn't about always being right. It's about knowing when to ask questions, when to pause, and when to listen to the people closest to the problem. Another lesson here is about integrity. Kael kept working after he was fired, not because he needed validation, not because he wanted his job back, but because he understood responsibility at a deeper level. He saw the consequences beyond himself. That kind of discipline is rare and it's powerful, but even with that strength, he still walked away. Why? Because respect isn't proven in a crisis. It's proven before it. Apologies after the fact don't rebuild trust when the foundation was never there to begin with. Opportunity means nothing if the environment doesn't value you until it's too late. So here's the truth. Pay attention to people before you need them. Ask before you assume. And if you're the one doing the work no one sees, understand your worth before someone else tries to define it for you. Because sometimes the biggest win isn't saving the system. It's knowing when to leave it. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to Nightmare Tales for more stories like this. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.